Hey everybody, welcome back to Nerd News Today. I'm Matthew. Today we're taking a look at a figure I have wanted for so long, and we finally have, I think, the best and most affordable version of to finally add to our collections. And today I'm talking about McFarlane Toys' new Joker figure from their Dark Knight Trilogy series. Yes, this is at last a Heath Ledger Joker that we can afford to finally buy. Why do I keep talking about the price so much? Why is it such an important factor for me? Well, back when the Dark Knight figures first came on the market, when the movie premiered, Heath Ledger did not sign his likeness rights to be made, so all the Joker toys didn't quite look like him. A few years later, NECA got the rights to do some stuff, and they were able to include a Heath Ledger Joker as part of a DVD set, and that was an excellent Joker, but if you missed out on it, that price has now gone through the roof, I believe. It's a lot harder to find. So other than that, the only good way to get a Heath Ledger-style Joker figure was to go up to, let's say, the 1/6 scale and spend a whole lot more money on a Hot Toys figure, or go for some third-party toys, which are quite nice, but again, third parties, if you don't know the company you're buying from, your money's at a little bit of a risk. So McFarlane Toys, we know, has a love affair with all things Batman, and I'm so happy that they're doing the Nolan series of films, because yeah, we finally have a version of Heath Ledger Joker that is affordable, thank goodness, and this thing looks so great, you guys. I'm not going to dwell really on the packaging here, because you guys can basically see everything you need to know about it, and the back of these things is always really pretty much worthless. I mean, you guys can see right now, in fact, the back has nothing about Heath Ledger or the Joker or even the series. All it's really doing is advertising the Build-A-Figure, which is going to be our Bane figure, which, you know, we'll see about getting all those. I don't know if I'm going to get all of them. I do know that I got myself the Joker because I've been wanting this for so long. I also have the Batman figure itself coming, so we'll see that in a few weeks once it arrives here. But with all that out of the way now, let's go ahead and take a closer look at this Heath Ledger Joker figure from The Dark Knight Returns and see if he's worth adding to your collection or if we should just let it burn. Alright, and here is our McFarlane Toys Dark Knight Joker out of the packaging. Let's take a closer look at this figure. This right here is just really, you know, when I say I've been waiting for a figure like this of Heath Ledger's Joker, I really mean it, because, man, this right here is a beauty. Let's turn him around real quick as well, just to get a quick glimpse of all the different details that are on this figure here. But, man, this is like, you know, initial glance, initial viewing, I want to say that they nailed this. And I am loving every second of this figure right now. So I think I want to start first by talking about the likeness. So the question I ask at the start of all my videos is, does this look like the person it's portraying? And I would have to say, yeah. I think this absolutely looks like Heath Ledger. You know, I don't know what happened with the rights issues. Maybe it was related to the fact that he had just passed away at that point. But yeah, the original Dark Knight Toys did not have much of a Ledger likeness at all because it wasn't really officially him. But this one here, they got it. And it looks great. You know, like, this is just a wonderful sculpt. It really just nails all the aspects, and from every angle, too. That's the thing. It's like, no matter what the angle is, it still reads as Heath Ledger. So that's perfect. I also like what they did a little bit with the face paint. You guys can see it's like a little transparent in some spots also. It's not just like one solid shade of white across him. You could see in his brow, especially, that it's kind of faded a little bit because he's just been walking around with that paint on him. And also the hair is very nice too. You know, it has that real weird kind of muddy green color that he had for that hair, which is very nice looking as well. I really like the, terrible to say, but I really dig the scars that are on his face as well. Those are painted really nicely too. The eyes, great, sunken into his face. You know, like, this looks like him. And they got the makeup, which is really the biggest part too about this character. Is it's one thing to get the likeness, it's another to get the makeup completely right. And I think that they did this across the board. You know, this is excellent as far as the head goes. If there's one thing maybe I could have done differently, it would have been like the hair, just because it feels like he has a lot more hair the way it's like sculpted together. Not that the Joker had any bald spots, but the way his hair was, it was a lot stringier. And I know that's a difficult thing to capture, so this is probably as good as we're gonna get with this. So it's really just a nitpick, but I think this is a really excellent head sculpt here. Now, as we pan down a little bit, take a closer look at the rest of the body here and the wardrobe that goes along with this Joker, you know, it still is looking mighty nice. This is a fine looking wardrobe here. The one thing that you might notice is a little bit different is really some of the detail in the clothing though, and in particular, you know, if we talk about the fabric of his vest and his jacket. So like the jacket, for example, and the tie, both would have had a lot more detail in the film. But again, I'm going to allow this just because it's like, you know, a $20 figure. So you can't expect to have like crazy Hot Toys details in things like the vest and the jacket. Really, it's just the vest that is lacking the most. And I think the tie also had a different pattern. It wasn't just that flat tone. But, you know, if you look even further down, though, I mean, the pants are actually pleated, you know, so it's not that they're not putting any detail in, it's definitely easier for them to do sculpted detail than it is to do something like heavy-duty paint detail in a vest. The jacket itself too is a very nice looking jacket. It's a little plain, but that's fine because it doesn't need to be that much, to it. Really, it's the vest. That's the one part where it's lacking. But like I said, 20 bucks, what difference is it gonna make? It's, if this was like an $80 figure, if this was a Mafex, then yeah, I would want that painted up a lot nicer, but 20 bucks, finding this in your Target, I mean, come on, that's just an instant win. And there was just a lot of great detail on all the different parts of this Joker too. I mean, you have the gold chain over here running down from the inside of the vest to his pocket back there. We have also the shoes I want to talk about, because I think the shoes are actually really nice also. These are pretty much like the shoes he wore. There's no little knives sticking out of them, but the shoes are good too. Like, these are really nice detail. I think they're brand new also for this figure. It seems to be the nice thing about a lot of McFarlane's toys is that they rarely reuse parts with their figures, and I'm not really seeing with the Joker especially anything they could reuse besides maybe hands. And that's fine, because hands are hands. What are you going to do about those, really? But man, every angle, this is just like nailed it, I'm really impressed by this. McFarlane does good work, but this especially, it's like one of their best, I would say. I don't think I'm going out in a stretch here, but this is just a very, very nice one. And arguably, I would think the best in the entire Dark Knight line that they've done so far. So let's spend a little time now talking about some of the accessories the Joker has, and it's a decent amount, depending how you want to look at it. You might say it's a good amount for some, and a little amount for others. And I want to start with the trading card, because it's behind all of the figures. We got ourselves a trading card. This is what McFarlane's been doing since day one with the company. I like trading cards, but I've been kind of on the fence about what they're doing with the cards. So let's take a closer look at just this card by itself. And it has like one of the most famous images, I think, for the film. Like, this is one of the promo images very early on, when they're still kind of hiding the look of Joker as well. So it's a cool image. It looks nice on the card. And the back is also somewhat decent. I've actually complained the most on the back of the cards with how small the fonts have been, how much text they put in there. This is still a lot of text, but it seems like the size is a lot easier to read. So hooray for that, finally. I'm happy this is finally legible, and I actually like this a lot more than the previous ones we've seen. And also next to that trading card, we have a base. Most of the figures, I believe not all of the figures, come with a very simple round base, one peg hull. You can see the DC logo on there. Nothing really too important on the back. But everybody gets a base, and that always makes me happy. So, a really nice base, and we're actually going to use it right now, because Joker's been having a little bit of a problem standing up throughout this video. So, let's make sure he can actually use this. Alright, so here's our Joker. Slide our base on over there, and let's see. He does have a peg hole on either foot, so any foot you want, you could stick him in, but there you go. Easy peasy, super simple, and he's standing up a whole lot better than he was throughout the rest of this video, because, man, he's been a little bit of a pain in the butt to actually get him to stand up, but that base is just fine. But that's not the only thing this Joker comes with. He also has, well, what turns out to be an additional base, because we have another one right here. This one is from a surprising scene that they pulled from. This is a stack of money, which is basically the stack of money that we would have seen Joker burn about halfway into the film. So that's what they decided to go with as the accessory, and I'm actually really liking it. It's so cool, because we don't really get too many money accessories in like this scale, in this 1/12 scale of figures, and especially none stacked up like this. So it's really nice. As far as the detail on the dollar bills go, of course, very, very little, and really essentially none. But that's fine. You get the idea that they are money. You know it's money without having to really do much work. And you'll see again, there's also a peg hole. So I'm going to actually swap out our Joker right now from this other base, and let's see if he can go on this one just as easily. I'm hoping he does. And again, he has holes in each foot, but really it's only meant to be put on one here. And let's take a look at how he's looking right now. I think the one thing I'm noticing right away off the bat with this other base here is the fact that he's standing up a lot straighter. That's for better or for worse. And I say that just because, it's not the most dynamic pose here. So if you are having him on this, he's basically just going to be standing straight up. I wonder if you can actually sit down on this. And I guess we'll start talking about articulation right here now, too. That's worth pointing out. So let's go ahead and tighten up our shot, and let's talk about some of this articulation. So we have a ball-jointed head that moves pretty nicely. We have ball-jointed shoulders, both sides. We've got double-jointed elbows, so you get some really good articulation there. It looks like our wrists can bend and flex. Yes, they can. All right. The waist, you guys can already see, it's actually moving quite a bit there. There's no separate part in the chest area over here. It's all just kind of together, but he's moving actually surprisingly well. And likewise for the legs, we do have some decent leg articulation. That's about as high as he's going to get them easily without forcing it up beyond the point of this kind of like rubbery crotch part. We have double jointed knees as well. Looks like the ankles can rotate and flex, and also the toes have some articulation there. So how about that? That's pretty cool. So I do want to see, though, if we can actually get Joker to sit on this pile of money, but I don't think it's going to work out the way I want it to. Let's see here. So I'm basically pushing the jacket behind him a little bit to see if this is going to work out. I mean, maybe we can kind of fake it a little bit, I think. It's definitely close here. Like, I can't actually get the foot in the peg, but he's kind of sort of sitting on it. If I have him maybe squat a little bit more, got one foot maybe flatter on the ground. Yeah, he can actually sit on the money. That's really cool. Didn't take that much work to do that either. I mean, that was just a few little wiggles and moving around some joints there, but no, he's actually sitting on that money pretty good and unsupported too. So you might be wondering, how come the Joker doesn't have any knives? How come the Joker doesn't have any guns? Well, I don't think he actually used any guns, to be fair, in the Dark Knight film, but why doesn't he have any knives included with him? Especially when this figure has a trigger finger. And, well, the simple reason for that is McFarlane Toys isn't really putting weaponry in their figures anymore for a number of reasons, which I'm sure other channels have covered quite in depth. But a lot of big box vendors don't want realistic-looking guns in their stores, for even with toys. So, yeah, the only way to get any weaponry for this Joker would be to go to McFarlane's website, where you can pick up, they have now 2 accessory packs. The first one sold out completely, but I believe there is a second one right now. So, yeah, they're basically doing gun packs for all of these figures, and they're all sorts of different guns. They range from realistic to pretty far out crazy stuff. So if you want some other options, that's going to be the only way to get some weaponry for him, unless you use it for some other figures. Now, the other thing that comes with this Heath Ledger Joker is this pile of stuff that's in my hand right now. These are parts for the Bane Build-A-Figure, and what Joker comes with is 6 hands for Bane, which we'll just dump over here for a second. So I want to show you guys the more important accessory that he has, and that would be the head for Bane. So this is the only way to get Bane's head, which is definitely making this figure even harder to find than it already is. And it's a good-looking head. You know, as far as who it's supposed to look like, it looks pretty good. Details are in there as well. The mask detailing is nice. Paint excellent as well. So, you know, really no complaints about the Bane head. Really, the only concern you need to know about is being able to track it down. But that's what it looks like in hand, and it looks really nice. And, you know, I was on the fence about getting all 4 figures in this wave. I think I will now. Now that I've got this Bane head here, and I'm seeing how cool this looks, I think, yeah, we'll come back to that point a little bit later on in the video, but this is a good Bane head. And if you want a close look at the hands as well, so we have like closed fists, and we have essentially it's kind of like a trigger finger hand as well, and then just some like choking, grappling sort of hands. So good variety of hands that Bane is going to have as well. But let's go ahead right now and do some figure comparisons with our Joker and see how he stands up next to some other action figures. Now keep in mind, McFarlane Toys tend to run a little bit larger than the average 1/12 scale figure, and in fact they tend to be more in scale with NECA's figures for the most part. This is an older NECA Terminator figure, and again, keep in mind, Joker's on the base, but that base is not very big, so it's not really adding that much height to him. But even here you can see, I mean, this version of Arnold is actually a little bit smaller, surprisingly, than this Joker. And I also have a NECA Battle Damage RoboCop here, and similar heights, better than Arnold, but not by much. So, you know, scale-wise it's not terrible, but he does feel a little small, which is kind of shocking. Let's try out a G.I. Joe Classified. I have a Bat Trooper here, and Joker towers over this guy. Yeah, that's a pretty huge size difference right there. So G.I. Joe figures, nope, these are not going to work with your guys at all. How about a WWE Elite figure? How about a Kevin Owens? And even this Ledger is huge. This is an enormous Joker compared to other figures. So unfortunately, really, it's only going to work with things that are closer to that 7-inch scale, which for the most part would just be McFarlane Toys and also Diamond Select. So he'll fit in probably very nicely with Diamond Select figures. So final thoughts on this Joker, though. Overall, this is like an excellent version of the Joker here. I'm so excited to have this. Like I said, it's so hard to find a good Heath Ledger Joker out there. It was impossible to find when the movie first came out for reasons we already discussed. But man, no, this one's perfect, especially when you consider that this is a $20 action figure. You know, the one downside is that, no, you're not getting any knives, but McFarlane will probably cover you in a future weapons pack if there aren't already knives in like any of those. So he will have other knives. You know, the money is actually a very cool, very unique accessory, and I'm happy that they gave him that. Of all the things that they could have chosen for him, that money is just like such an interesting, unique one to do there. So, yeah, overall though, I mean, excellent job on the sculpt, outfit, the wardrobe. Like, I don't really have anything to really complain about besides some nitpicks, and those nitpicks I feel like ultimately come down to just the price and the production of the figure. So, you know, this is a great don't miss version of the Joker, and the downside is While he is only 20 bucks, and that should make him, easier and more palatable for most collectors, he's going to be hard to find. He's already been sold out of a few places, so you got to really keep your eye on things. I think once the figure gets a little bit more widely released, you will start having an easier time finding him. But for now, you're going to have to probably do a little bit of hunting, and I think it's worth it. So I would advise you guys, don't pay eBay prices, don't pay scalper prices. Go to like Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth, put up an alert and just wait till it shows up in their stores, because that's going to be your best bet to get them at a fair and proper price. You could also try Amazon.com, and if you want to try Amazon, I'm going to have my affiliate link in the description of this video below. And that's also a great place to check to get your toys at normal price. So again, just be patient there, use my link, and if you use that link, by the way, it helps this YouTube channel at no extra cost to you. Beyond that though, again, this is just a stellar Joker. Are there some things I wish they were done better? Yeah, but 20 bucks. So I can't complain too much there. It's a great start. And really, there's probably gonna be a lot of customizers out there who do some crazy, beautiful things to this crazy, beautiful character. So yeah, definitely pick this one up if you've been waiting as long as I have for a Heath Ledger as Joker figure. So until next time, this is Matthew. Thanks for watching Nerd News Today, and why so serious?